Challenge accepted. Here's how I would execute if I was tasked with being the creative director for a CÉCRED launch rollout. First things first, what do we know about the brand so far? Well, we know it's another Bee and Tina project, and the inspiration is definitely pulled from their early days in the salon. And judging by this photo, you can definitely tell that there's an influence from their family unit, and on some level, passing on a tradition. Lastly, we know that the name itself, CÉCRED, is based on a deeper connection and experiences that we have with our hair. Now, after that, I thought about all of the current things in the natural hair community. And we're manipulating our hair again. Definitely seen a rise in something called being a straight natural, where you take care of your hair on a regular basis, but for the most part, you wear your hair straight. I can definitely attest to being a part of that community. But I will say there are girls who straighten their hair and then do the heatless curl thing. That's definitely been a trend. Now, we do know that sew-ins are back and we are frying our leave outs. But I will say the frontal warriors are growing their hair outs under wigs. We know that for certain. I too have grown my hair out wearing wigs for a year straight. Now, on a separate but also relevant note, we got the boys. Now, 8 out of 10 of the men you know got some hair on them. They ain't got the little cousins with the deep waves. And I mean, how you think they doing it? With hair products, with braiding gel, with do-rags, and all that. So I think you need to be tapping in there. Now, last but not least, I don't see much trending on like little girls' hair and things like that. I do think it's worth including like the influencer moms and their kids and how they're doing their hair, especially this creator here. Now, I will say that there are still girls wearing their froze, but it's not the big trend right now as much as it was a couple years ago. And I'm not gonna lie, I am really fearful that they're gonna focus all on natural hair without modernizing it. And it's just kind of like that was a couple years ago, you know? So how would I combine both of these themes to bring you a limited YouTube series? I would create a limited YouTube series where we get to see Miss Tina in her element, both doing hair and being the one to teach us about the product. And what better clients to try them out on than their gang, their family? I feel like we all want to see these products being used, especially that ritual shaker. And at the same time, we're desperate to get a peek into their personal world too. So let me set the scene. The setting will absolutely be in a hair salon. Definitely focus on just like those two chairs. That's it. But on the mirror, I think there's opportunity for so many cute details there, especially all of these photos of Tina back in the day, showing like we've been doing this, and also just some really heartfelt moments with Solange and B. In this series, I see her having 6 guests. And first up, Blue and Rumi. Now, first of all, the products that I would like to see her use on them will be the hydrating shampoo and the moisturizing deep conditioner. For the services I want to see her give them, I want to see Blue getting like a curly twist out or a wash and go, and Rumi getting her classic 2 ponytails, but maybe with like some braid detail. So what do I want them to talk about? Definitely their favorite hairstyles. I want to hear what they like to wear to school. And for Blue, I want to know what her favorite hairstyle was when she went on tour. I even want to hear what Blue's memories are with getting her hair done so far, because she's 11 or 12, which was the same age that Beyonce was when she was in the salon. So obviously she's not going to the salons, but I want to know if she's gathering any just like motivation or ideas or idols based off of who she's around at the moment. Not at the salon, but she is privy to seeing B getting her hair done and getting her makeup done and things like that. So I wonder if any of those people she's starting to like idolize or be motivated by. Now, the overall vibe I see as being very silly and very fun because it is a grandma with her grandkids at the end of the day. I see Rumi being rambunctious and Blue asking her to sit still a little bit. Honestly, I think it would just be so cute if at the very end when Rumi sees her braids and stuff, we see her in the mirror and like, gotta protect my braids. And they're all just like laughing and together. Like, I think that would just be like so cute. Now, next guest, we have Jules. Now, like I said, the boys are getting braids and the boys are doing twists. And I feel like the best products for that, assuming, would be the moisture sealing lotion and the hair oil. And the service I want to see him get is just a wash, condition, blow dry, and some braids. Now, the thing with me is, I feel like the beauty industry desperately needs to carve out a space for hetero men in their maintenance. It's like we haven't seen anything substantial since like Shea Moisture. The whole time, every man around you got braids, got twists, got a haircut, grooming their beard, got a do-rag. Like, what are using up your product? But anyways, I want Tina and Juice to talk just the idea of expressing yourself through hair, because if you think about it, like that wasn't something that was done when Tina was growing up. So they can definitely have a conversation about that, especially having an era where you dye your hair. That's kind of new. kind of modern, and definitely talking about any struggles with like keeping up with it and just letting us in on his personal routine. Because boys really do be particular and real finicky about what they do with their hair and stuff. And I feel like the vibe would just be very loving. After all, he is her first grandkid. So I would love to just get like a peek into what that looks like for them, what jokes they share, and their dynamics. Next guest. Now the product for him, I want to see the clarifying shampoo. And the service that I want, if it can do it, is him getting a clarifying wash on his locks. Now, like I said, we don't really know too much about these products yet, but if it can do that, I feel like that is what is going to set them apart. Like if you can be inclusive with locks, especially on men, you got it. The crazy part is I was watching a video by a creator who literally said, I have locks, so I know these products don't speak to me. Mind you, she was making a video about Beyonce's past brands. So it's just like, you feel that little gap there, you got it. Anyways, what I want them to talk about. I want them to talk about his hair being a statement, especially it being against what they feel like we should look like to be considered professional. How that journey has actually gone for him. Have people treated him differently? Has he proven his point? He can even talk about the fact that he cut his hair for every hour and what that kind of symbolism means to him. And then we could kind of bring up how he mentioned the girls told him not to cut his hair and that's why he ain't cut it yet. Maybe even Tina can share a story about how she was judged based on her appearance and they can kind of talk about that together. For the overall vibe, I don't know if it gives as much funny as much as it may give like wisdom, but I'm here for that. And I feel like it naturally will have some endearing moments because, he calls her Ma and just those type of things. So I feel like it'll be well rounded. And next up, we have our girl Solo. Now, the products I would like to see on her would be the reconstructing treatment mask and the moisturizing deep conditioner. The service I would want her to get would definitely be a curly fro wash and go, similar to what Blue Ivy got. Now, what would I want them to talk about? I definitely would want to hear from Solange how she feels about the statements that she made with her afro at her wedding versus how she feels about things now. I'm sure the core of it all is the same because we all love our hair, but I definitely feel like I see her more with braids and sew-ins as of late. So I just wonder if she has jumped on the train of just doing protective, for convenience. And I want to hear what her routine was when she had her blonde hair. If she was able to keep her hair healthy, I want to know all about how. Secondary, I do want to hear them talk a little bit about her latest album. Even though it was a couple years ago, there was a tweet going around recently where Tina was just pointing out that they've been doing the cowboy stuff and specifically pointed out that Solange did a whole project based on Black cowboys and just all of those themes. We want to hear them dive into that a little bit of like the symbolism, any memories that they had growing up that we weren't privy to, just giving us more core connections to them and their countryside. Now, the overall vibe, I absolutely want it to be funny. I want Tina to be cracking jokes like this. And I want Solange to be like, Mom, stop. I absolutely want all of that. Not to mention, we really just don't see Solange and Tina together that much. So I would just eat it all up. And next up, we got Cousin Angie. Now, hear me out. Now, obviously, we don't know anything personal about Angie and we don't know her personality. But what I do know is it looks like my girl always keep a sewing, and that's important. The product that I want to see on her is the fortifying treatment kit, and the service that I want is a sewing maintenance service. Now, we're not about to do a whole sewing on her, but I do want to see her come in for like a 2-week, 3-week sewing maintenance. Obviously, that service is not the most mainstream of service, but if you know to even ask for that, it's like you're in the know and your fingers on the pulse. Because it just goes back into that whole idea of like, we're manipulating her hair, but we're trying to do our best. So just seeing her have her weave in, but still being able to like get up in the scalp, take care of the leave out, especially, would just be great. And also just provide some versatility and inclusion, in my opinion, to the brand. I want them to talk about the hardships of maintaining a sew-in and taking care of your leave out. And back to the current themes of the natural hair community that I talked about in part 1, the girls are back to sew-ins, and there's like a big need to make straight hair work in the day-to-day while still keeping your hair healthy. So I think that whole conversation and knowledge would be amazing. To double down a little bit more, it's just like there's definitely an increase in girls who feel like not touching your hair, not coloring it, not doing anything, not putting any heat is a little overrated. And some people definitely just be like, F it. They're just not that committed to length over styling and having fun anymore. I feel like a great space to explore is how to manipulate your hair, how to do these things, but still keep it as healthy as possible while you still have fun. So the overall vibe, I feel like there's definitely room for like some auntie niece banter. Like, the tone that your stylists give you when it's like, girl, you know you need to cut them ends, you need to let that lane go, that type of tone. Like Tina could have that tone with Angie. Girl, you need to stop coming to me with these fried leave outs, but let's make it work in the meantime. or just all that kind of stuff. And I just think that's fun. Like, I know hair salons really have to promise you like these long tresses of hair and the healthiest hair you'll have in your life, yada yada. But I feel like there's room for like reality, connection, and a little bit of comedy, and maybe even inclusion, and acknowledging that some girls just gonna fry that leave out and we gonna love them anyways. Okay, so last but not least, we got BB. Now, the products that I want to see her use: the fermented rice and rose protein ritual, a reconstructing mask. Lastly, I need to see her using that ritual shaker vessel, because what is that? For the service, I want to see her get a blowout, a juicy, curly, bouncy blowout. Honestly, I was gonna say give her a soap brush, but I definitely felt like that was a bit much, especially since they don't sell a heat protectant spray, which they should. So a blowout will be just fine. Now, with the bouncy blowout is right on trend for the Texas era. And with using like roller sets and things like that, she could use the little like Velcro rollers and be on trend with the girlies. Now, what I would want them to talk about. First of all, how she's been able to grow her hair down her back while it's been colored for all these years. Y'all know that's a consistent chemical process. So I want to know how she's been able to repair the bonds of her hair and keep the strands strong while coloring it. If the consistent coloring wasn't enough, we know that she wears a lot of high tension hairstyles. Of course, at shows, but also at like photo shoots, video productions, etc. So tell us how. Now, me being a beauty girl and just a girl who used to dye my hair like crazy, I feel like she would say the key to it really is moisture, and for sure consistent protein treatment. But listen, I am just a girl and I want to know what her and Miss Tina gotta say. She could even also talk about the process of being a straight natural and how to do that in a healthy way. And that is kind of a statement, and I can see it being kind of controversial. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's real. You might as well acknowledge it and learn how to keep your hair healthy. Best of both worlds. And it's like, for Christ's sake, the girl has straight hair on the Essence cover. She'd be touching that flat iron. It's okay. At the end of the day, the girl got invincible hair strands, and I need to know how. Now, the overall vibe. I definitely want to see Tina annoy the hell out of her. Like in that video, she was like, oh, natural. And she was like, Ma, that's really annoying. And honestly, I personally would die if while Tina was doing like the final touches or like the layers to her hair for the curly bouncy look, she kind of like put the scissors to her bang and was just like, you want to bang? She was like, because you know the bangs we talking about. So if they kind of reference that and that kind of like funny moment, I would die. That's all I got. I feel like when all is said and done, bringing in the family as the testers really does allow us to feel super close and feel like we're getting a peek in without them really having to be personal at all. And also, I feel like bringing in all these other people would really help take the heat off of Beyonce, because there is video after video after video just having like such strong doubt about if like another brand of hers will work, why the other ones fail, yada yada yada. So if they were to do something where they brought other people in, I would hope that would kind of help people like zoom out a bit. But at the same time, it really would just satisfy the criticisms about just not knowing anything about her, not seeing her, not knowing anything about the family, not knowing what her scalp looks like, not knowing if she got dandruff, just all the things. And that's it. And Parkway, if you want to call me, you can absolutely set that. But anyways, bye till next time.